Hey, I'm Cole. Welcome to Anonymous Storytellers and Zen, page 1.
What? Oh, I thought it was page 69.
I'm on page 1. Get with the program.
And I'm Zen. Cole is gay.
Well, today we're continuing with My Property is Normal by Murder Bird 17. We'll start at part 3.
We will also read Nafnlaus by Robert 4199. The story was recently posted a day ago as we record this. Without further ado, let's read.
Hey guys, I'm back. I know it's been a few days since my last post. One of the pails chewed through the wires of my generator, and since civilians aren't allowed out here by the organization, I had to wait 3 days for one of their electricians to get out here. The only reason I knew it was a pail that chewed through the main cable was because I watched it do it. I was hoping it would electrocute itself, but I forgot the part where that's the only source of power for my house since the Chosen had stolen my backup. This is probably a good time to say that if you haven't read the first 2 installments of the series, you should, because I highly doubt any of this will make any sense. They aren't long, and I will link them at the bottom of this post. Back to the regularly scheduled programming. I realized while I was stuck in the dark for the past 3 days reading books and hiking out of pure boredom that I hadn't told y'all about the pails yet. They suck. But they are kind of funny once you figure them out. I've seen them on quite a few occasions on the property. The pails are white humanoids that crawl on all fours, usually dragging their belly and using the same motion that Spider-Man uses to climb walls. They can move at about a jogging pace, and their faces are usually stuck in distorted expressions of pain or anger. Boy, are they stupid as hell. Let me tell you about the first time I saw one. I'd already been living here about 7 months, I think, so I was becoming familiar with the weird shit that calls this place home. I was hiking some trails, kinda halfway looking for weird shit, halfway minding my own business, and suddenly I can hear what sounds like a baseball player sliding through the leaves of the forest floor, trying to reach home plate ahead of me. Only the sliding didn't stop, and it was coming straight towards me. I prepare myself by taking out my trusty Bear Grylls survival knife and entering what I would describe as an aggressive stance. I felt pretty badass, not gonna lie, expecting some creature to come barreling out of the woods in front of me. I was a little shocked to see a butt-naked man with super pale skin dragging himself out from under the brush on its stomach. What is it fucking naked? Sorry. What is with fucking naked dudes on my land? Can't I get a pretty woman at least once?
Anyways, after I got done being flabbergasted and became aware of my surroundings, again, I became aware that the dude was almost on me and was reaching out for my leg. So I jumped on his back, and it worked like a fucking charm. This little bastard didn't have any superhuman strength like some other things out here. So when I landed on its back, it couldn't do anything but sit there and flop its legs and arms around like a fish. At this point, I'm on the verge of tears. It hears me laughing and tries to turn its head and spit on me, which it can't do, and that made me actually start crying, laughing. I fell off it at this point, and the creature quickly turned around and locked its teeth onto the toe of my left boot. I like to wear steel-toe boots around the property because even though they are heavy, I know that in a scuffle, being able to kick with a boot and not having to worry about breaking a toe is a nice little advantage. That is what led me to realize that even though the creature didn't have super strength, it did have a super bite force. When it first lashed onto my boot, I wasn't worried about I wasn't worried and started trying to shake the thing off, without much urgency. I already knew it wasn't a man by this point because it didn't possess an asshole or other genitals, but I got a little worried when I noticed the end of my boot changing shapes as the steel in the end started to bend. I then said out loud, "If you don't stop right now, I'm gonna stab your head, you little shit." It paused, as if debating on the decision, and then slowly started biting down again while its eyes looked up at me as if it's to try and call my bluff. I wasn't bluffing. A few seconds later, the thing is frantically clawing its way back into the forest with my favorite Bear Grylls survival knife, still in the back of its stupid fucking head. Nobody likes a fucking thief. I got back home fine, but I had to replace my favorite knife and get a new pair of boots, so it was a pretty shitty hike. The next time I saw one was when I figured out their biggest fear, and it's so stupid. I'm in the creek playing with a new toy I'd got in town earlier that week. It was this net that was designed to catch little minnows and shit, and it was a blast. I didn't really have any use for minnows or whatever the other little fish I was catching because I can't go to the only pond on the property that had big fish in it since I had made the deal with the crocodile man. So I was catching them and letting them go. I'm suddenly greeted by the somewhat familiar sound of a grown man sliding across the ground on their belly. It had been almost 2 months since the last incident I had with a pail, but I immediately recognized the sound. This was the dunce that had stolen my knife. I really vowed that Bear Grylls knife. That can be purchased at your local Walmart. It really was a good product.
Unfortunately, the pail that emerged this time wasn't the same one. It had a different face, and was more of a light pink than the original white that was on the first pail. It was still the same type of creature though. This time, things went down differently. As it tore into a clearing that I was in about 30 feet from me, it froze, with its eyes wide. As it had torn through the brush, I was already facing its direction, holding the net spread out to my side, the same way a bullfighter holds a red cape, since I was preparing to throw the net into the creek. The pail's eyes were switching between looking at the net and looking at me. So I looked at the net and back to him. Then it clicked. No way, I giggled to myself as I started to catch on to what was happening. I took advantage of my suspicions and started running and flailing the net around at the pail, and it freaked the fuck out. It actually rolled over, trying to turn too fast as it spun around and took off into the woods. I then started wheezing, laughing as I fell to the ground with tears running down my face. This fucking thing can bite through steel but is terrified of a nylon net. I know that might not be funny to some because I have a twisted sense of humor, but it made my week. Long story short, I keep the little net in my hiking bag every time I go out now, and every pail I've come across is utterly mind-fucked at the sight of it. Good times, man. I wish all the things around here were that easy to deal with. On another note, I got an email from an organization asking me about the Keela that the lady in the tree claimed that I killed in the last post. They wanted to know if I had disposed of the body and if they could come and retrieve the remains from the woods if I had just left it. Then they said something that caught me off guard. When I said something about having to check with the program that put me out here, they responded with, "We are the parent organization of that program," and proceeded to give me my own address and details about my former life that only the program should have known about. In all seriousness, I have a dark past, and I haven't always been a great man, but I'm done with that shit, and it pissed me off they would even try to bring it up. I responded with a simple, "Fine, but don't bring that shit up again," and blocked the emailer. No one has shown up yet, but I guess we will see what happens. On a good note, I haven't seen a skinny in a couple weeks, so that's nice.
See you next time. And feel free to leave your questions in the comments. And if you have any ideas what these pails actually are, or what a Keelite is, please tell me. If any of you are good with research stuff, I would really appreciate it. talk to you again soon. Well, I'm back, guys. Welcome to part 4 of this documentary catalog? Diary? Is that what the hell am I reading? I don't know at times. Well, honestly, I don't know. What is this anymore? Because I thought I would only be using this platform to tell stories of stuff that has happened in the past on this property. But now I'm being forced to bring this journal to the present. You see, those people from the organization did come to see about the kid, and now there's a guy named Mark living in my house and sleeping on my couch. Well, not really sleeping, more of unconscious, but we'll get to that part later. After a few days of this organization, they wouldn't tell me their name. Not showing up, I figured it was a troll who managed to figure out my email account and hack into my personal info. But alas, on the 3rd day, he rose! Nah, not really. My 4 guys did end up knocking on my front door. They were all dressed pretty normal, except for the matching grey combat boots that told me that these were men of action, which also means that they are gonna try their hardest to push me around and play badass. My suspicions were confirmed. My suspicions were My suspicions were conformed. My suspicions were Zen, can you read that for me, please?
My suspicions were confirmed when the guy in the lead identified himself as Mark and immediately asked where I claimed to have killed Aquila. What a prick.
Thank you. Look, I still don't know what the fuck a keelet is, and I don't claim to have killed one. The lady in the tree said I killed one. I only assume she's talking about the hairless coyote I killed down near the creek. At the mention of the lady in the tree, they all looked at each other with the expression of, "This dude's a waste of time." The feeling was mutual. I was getting a little impatient by now, so I chimed in with a, "If you guys are done being superior to me, I can take you to where I killed the coyote." The one behind Mark, whose name I don't remember, says, "Sure, let's get this over with."
30 minutes later, we are standing in front of where I killed the thing that I now know wasn't a coyote. Look, I know I may not have clarified it yet, but I killed this thing well over a year ago. Shit, maybe 2 years ago. And the only reason the organization knew that I had killed it was because of the post I made earlier this week. A lot of decomposing and feeding can happen to a body in the woods over that long of a time. On top of that, I hadn't been to this part of the property in a while because there aren't any trails or interesting locations here. But I was taken aback when I saw what had happened to this body over the course of 2 years. It had been out here. Absolutely nothing. The body looked like I had shot it yesterday. Only evidence that it was older was the fact that all the blood that had all seeped out of the head wound and long since dried up. But the skin and face and the fur on its paws were completely preserved. It only had fur on its paws, which was odd. When we got to the body, the snickering crew of 4 went dead silent. "You said this thing was killed around 2 years ago, didn't you?" said Mark. "Yeah, but I haven't been down here since." "Why is the thing still preserved like that? What the hell is happening?" I questioned. One of the guys who hadn't said a word up until this point chimed in. "Keelets are so unnatural and dark that nothing that occurs in nature will have anything to do with an authentic one. This includes bacteria, fungi, and scavenger animals." Then he muttered something about a level 107 beast. Mark looked at me with a serious face and said, "So, if this Keelet story is true, does that mean all shit you said in those posts about this place were true?" Before I could answer with a, "What do you think, asshole?" a low, raspy laughter started to surround us and began closing in. It was coming from all directions. We looked up from the body to see at least 50 hooded figures surrounding us, laughing maniacally. All 4 of the military men pulled their concealed pistols and took aim. But before they could fire a shot, I called out laughing, "Hector, I told you, next time you and your little chosen crew sneak up on me, I'm kicking your asses again." Everybody paused. The chosen, the 4 men, and the pale that had just crested a hill 30 yards behind one of the cult members. A few seconds later, one of the hooded figures took off his hood to reveal a chubby, jolly-looking face with rosy cheeks and wire-rimmed prescription glasses. "Oh, man. We didn't know they were with you, Cole. We thought they were trespassers. We're sorry," Hector said with a downcast gaze. "Why did you even need them to begin with?" I retorted. Hector hesitated for a moment and said, "Our god wants a real sacrifice, and those white crawly humanoid thingies just aren't doing it for him anymore." At this moment, the pale that I could see frozen on top of the hill turned and bolted back into the woods. Hector then proceeded to call to the other hooded figures, "They're with Cole. We can't have them." There was a collective sigh as the chosen looked at the ground and walked away into the woods. I didn't notice until they were all gone that the 4 organization men hadn't lowered the weapons the entire time. "You pussies, ready to head back to the house? It gets dark in 45 minutes, and if those guys got you on edge, then you won't last long at night." Mark shot me a look that explained in detail how much he hated me. Without the need for words, while his 3 partners put on thick rubber gloves and put tequila into a sort of body bag.
As we are walking back towards my house with the 3 stooges carrying the corpse of the dog demon, Mark starts questioning me. "What was that group back there?" "Some cult, I guess. They told me they worship Cthulhu or something." He seemed kind of taken aback for a second and then asked, "Why did they seem wary of you, but not flinch when we had our guns trained on them?" "Simple. They don't fear death, but they do crack when exposed to severe pain for long enough." Again, Mark seems surprised by my answer. He's starting to strike me as simple-minded. "So, how did you inflict this pain on them?" I don't want to answer any more of these questions. I really didn't. This was the kind of shit that I don't like to dwell on. That was a different life, and I don't like when it seeps back into the present. Sure, it's nice to have all the local murder cult leave you alone, but I used methods that I regret to get that luxury. The last thing Mark said to me on our hike back to the house was, "Look, dude, my mind is telling me that you are batshit crazy, but my instincts are telling me that you're a threat. Which one are you?" I looked him in the eyes and mumbled, "That's up to you." Let me tell you, the look on his face was priceless. I love mind games. A few minutes later, we would reach the house, and all 4 of the goons walked to the big black van they arrived in. They start loading up the body as I reach my doorknob and go inside. I hear Mark starting to raise his voice, talking on the phone. "What? This guy isn't even right in the head. I know there's stuff here, but why with... Look, let me get a team down, okay? Yes, he does have experience, but... Wait, what did you just say?" He then stares at me with a mixture of confusion and disbelief. They told him where I came from. I could tell by the way he looked at me. He hung up the phone without any more arguing and began to walk over to me. As he reaches me, he says, "My higher-ups have told me that I need to stay with you for a while and keep an eye on the activity around here." I respond with, "You can't be serious." "I wish I wasn't." He said back, then added, "They also want me to remind you that you didn't pay for this house or this property." With that, I opened the door to my best butler impression and gestured for him to enter my home. As he walked through the door and dropped what I assumed to be his emergency bug-out bag on the floor, he froze. Can I just say one thing real quick? Fuck Skinny.
I didn't hear how heavily he was breathing at first, because the van was making noise as it was driving away. But as the sounds faded, I realized that Mark was breathing like he had just sprinted a marathon. His eyes were trained on the window with his body completely rigid, with his hand on his hip, ready to draw his gun. I followed his gaze to the window where I had confronted skinny people many, many times before. And sure enough, there he was. Only this time he wasn't someone I recognized. This time he was a fairly attractive, tall, and athletically blonde woman. She was smiling and holding a heart-shaped balloon. Upon closer inspection, I can tell the balloon read, "It's a girl." I rushed in front of Mark to try to snap him out of it, whatever trance he was in, but I soon realized that there were tears welling up in his eyes. By this I gathered that this woman was no longer with us, and the girl most likely wasn't either. Fuck you, Skinny. I calmly started to explain what Skinny was to Mark, but soon after he stopped me. I read the stories of Cole. I know where you've talked about this before, but I'm trained to handle these kinds of things, so don't worry about me. 'Cause I'm gonna fucking kill it. With that, he made a mad dash to the back door in an effort to get outside and confront Skinny. I managed to block him and push him to the ground, saying, "He won't come inside, so just keep your shit together and you fucking will live." Mark wasn't in a listening mood, though. He jumped back to his feet, straight into a fighting stance. Oh, great. After a second, he threw a fast left hook straight to my face. But he wasn't fast enough. I ducked under the swing and connected my elbow to the underside of his chin. He went out like a light. And by the time the scuffle was over, Skinny was gone. Put Mark on the couch, and now I'm typing this, thinking about going through his computer before he wakes up. Anyways, that's it for today. Please, if anyone knows what a keylite is, let me know. What did I kill? And what did Mark mean by he was trained to deal with this kind of stuff? What is he, a monster hunter or something? I'll try to get some answers before my next post. See you soon. Let's talk about the story. What do you all think? You get this on?
Sorry, cough.
You're good. What you thought?
I like it. I like that there's more people now. So it's
Yeah.
not just him alone.
It adds more vibe to it. I like doing multiple voices, as you know, so I like doing that, so it's nice.
Yeah. I gotta say, The Chosen are some of my favorite.
I barely know the Chosen, but I do find them funny, so
Dude, I just like the way they backed off and was like, "Oh, geez, I'm sorry, Cole." I'm
when
so
you
sorry.
I was like, damn, I'm being called out. Dude, what? I swear, I'm not that guy. I swear, guys. As I say, as I'm holding a knife, man, flipping around like a madman. I'm not crazy. I
I
swear.
didn't do a thing, guys.
What about you? What's your thoughts?
Honestly, I'm just kind of confused on what Aquila is.
Even we don't know what a keylite is.
I mean, it's a creature that doesn't just dissolve or anything. Need no decomposition, nothing. It's just there. It just exists.
Yeah, it's an entity that, even when killed, doesn't decompose. That's like a wild statement to say, you know?
Maybe like an entity sent by the gods.
Maybe, but well, we have
Curse upon all mankind.
It's from Inuit mythology.
Really. You gonna give us
It's
some
coming
lore
to
drop?
hunt you down.
Oh my god.
It's from the area around Baffin Island.
Oh yeah.
I don't know where that is.
Hey, more than I knew.
It's exactly as he described in the story, though. It only has hair on its paws, mouth, and the tips of its ears and tail.
Well, editing me, put an image of that on the screen now.
Good luck.
So
I
it's
don't
here
wanna
to
see
come
it.
and hunt you.
So they come hunt us?
It
Yes.
is pretty horrifying, though.
Oh, yeah?
Hold on. I should be able to do something at least for you guys.
Uh,
Oh, cool. Looks like a
Oh.
saggy dog with some hair.
I see why they said coyote. Wow, okay.
Yeah, it does look extremely similar to a coyote.
It's like all saggy and the skin looks like very rough and bumpy, but yet it's
Yeah.
got some hair on it, like an elephant.
So your audio listeners, we're going to do our best to describe it. And it's definitely like what you just said. It's bumpy, covered in like some weird skin, patchy and stuff.
With slight hair, just like an elephant.
Yeah, I can see the elephant comparison, yeah. Spanish mythology? Yeah. It looks like a dead dog. A dead decomposing dog, but it's not decomposing. You know?
So it's just a dead dog. Dog, like, probably a
It's a
day or two
zombified dog.
old.
Zombie dog. Zombie dog, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
zombie dog.
Did you guys like what we read? Were you into it, or you like, if?
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah.
I
it was good.
I feel you, I agree. I liked it more this time than the first go around. To be honest.
Told you.
Yeah, you win, Zen. You win. You know what you get? You know what you get, Zen?
A
$1 million?
pup
No, more stories
Right.
to read. Let's
You get a pup
continue. You want a pup?
Like
They want a pup cup? You want a pup cup?
No,
Hey, if they want a pup cup, I'll get you a pup cup. It's, you know,
I don't want a pup cup.
I can
I got
afford
a-
that
I
though.
think they
That's
want
like
a pup cup.
It's whipped cream in a cup. I can afford that, dude. Do you want you want
I
that?
think they want a pup cup.
I think so too.
No, I don't even like whipped cream.
You don't like whipped cream, bro?
What's wrong with you?
Right?
Now, on to the next story.
Okay. Now we shall read Nafnlaus. I said that right? Right? Yeah. Cool.
I believe so.
I'm assuming that is correct.
Nafnlaus.
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 Thank you. Much appreciated. All right. My grandfather was a dedicated folklorist. That was his job. At least I know how it sounds. Growing up, I thought it was really strange, too. Shit. Even until last month, I thought it was pretty fucking stupid. My grandfather passed away recently, and I had to help clean out his place. He lived alone in a narrow house that always smelled like old paper and dust. Every surface was stacked with notebooks, cassette tapes, folders tied with twine. Not organized exactly, just accumulated, like he'd been afraid after that it would stop be collecting. Something would slip through the cracks. I love that man, but God was he crazy. He would tell stories of fairies and goblins and ghouls as if they actually existed. As a kid, I did like his stories, but you get older. School, girls, everything else seeps in, and at some point you just stop listening. I don't remember deciding to. It just happened. Honestly, he had a lot of strange stuff. Dream catchers, hex bags, things I didn't have names for. Most of it was old. All of it was caked in dust. I was supposed to be sorting things into piles, one for trash, one for keeping, one for donating. Most of it was mundane. As strange as the hex bags and other things I didn't have names for were, they were clearly junk. It was boring, like I said. That changed when I found a journal on his bedside table. Leather-bound. Old. Dusty enough that it left a print where I picked it up. When I opened it, all I saw were names. Dozens of them. Page after page. Some were jumbled, some half-written. Some crossed out and wrote again beneath themselves. Halfway through, the spacing changed. The names crowded together. The handwriting collapsed in on itself. That's when I realized it wasn't a list of names at all. It was his name. Over and over again. Sometimes misspelled, sometimes unfinished. I closed the book. The leather cracked softly under my fingers. dust shifting across the cover like it had been disturbed for the first time in a long time. Gramps had become a recluse the last 4 months or so. I remember my mother telling me he was acting worse than usual, more obsessive. She refused to come here with me today. The relationship was ruined because of how bad he did get. I ran my hand over the cover, even still. It was the last thing I truly had that was his. I wanted to keep it. It meant something to him. You could tell. And I wanted to honor him in some way. I felt a raised bump on the cover. Underneath all the grime, slowly, I traced my fingers over the bump and realized there was letters. It took me a minute to understand the word, so I sounded it out.
Nafnlaus?
The word felt dry in my mouth. What the fuck does that mean? I set the book down and shook my head. I still had a lot of sorting left to do anyway. As I was sorting through the piles, I found an old VHS player and tape stacked in a bin. I'm not sure why, but I made the decision to plug in the player. Maybe it was curiosity. Sorting through the tapes, I found a stack all neatly together, and every single label was dated. I read words on each that were just... I'm not even sure what. Gibberish? I realized they all said the same thing at the beginning, though. Vitany. I picked up the one with the oldest date. The clunk of the tape as it settled in, and the sound of static filled my ears. The screen cut to black for a second before grainy footage of a man sitting in a chair popped up.
So what exactly did you experience?
A voice said gently behind the camera, my grandfather's voice.
Breathing. It was breathing.
The man replied, his voice shaking.
Breathing? Okay. Anything else?
My grandfather prompted him further. He spoke carefully.
He comes to me in my dreams. And he asks me for something. I can't remember though.
The man coughed it out.
Dreams with breathing. Do you think it could just be stress at work?
My grandfather asked. With each question, he got softer, treading lightly.
No! It's not just fucking stress. You sound like everybody fucking else. He's watching. He's fucking always there.
The man shot out of his chair, and as he did, the camera got knocked over. The shuffling feet could be heard from somewhere off screen.
It's alright. I'm sorry. Please sit back down.
My grandfather's voice pleaded with the man.
No.
The voice was hoarse now.
It's okay. We can stop there. It's okay.
My grandfather relented. The screen cut to black. Something sat heavy in my chest. And I didn't move for a second. That was strange. I decided to skip ahead to the last tape. It was dated about 5 years ago. I switched the tapes, and when the screen blinked back to life, my grandfather's face stared back at me. He looked exhausted. The type of exhaustion where it's clear he hasn't slept in days. He cleared his throat and began to speak.
I suppose I only have myself to blame. I've been trying to find him for so long now, and I never considered the fact that he may find me.
He paused. His voice was strained and barely above a whisper.
Most of the people whom I've met in search of this entity have stated that he asked the question.
He stared down at the ground.
The thing is...
He kept talking, but something weird was happening to the audio. It stretched and distorted. He could barely make it out at this point. He went on like for a little while.
So please, burn this place down and don't look back.
Those were the last words of the tape. I'm honestly not sure why I'm telling you this. Just like I'm not sure why I didn't listen to him. It's been a very long day. and I have about 20 more VHS tapes to go, and a house full of evidence. I'll keep you guys updated on what I find. Well, that's the end of the story. What are your thoughts on that one?
I liked it. I want to know if he ever updated, though.
Well, this was just posted yesterday, so we
You know,
check back up.
actually, yeah. I didn't clock that till now. My bad.
It's a very new story, which I'm like, I hope it's a running series. I mean,
I hope so. I like it so far.
yeah,
I mean, it said on there that it was probably going to start to be a series, so very likely they'll probably update it. Maybe tomorrow, maybe within this week.
yeah. So you listeners out there, like it, let us know. We'd love to get back to it. You know.
Yeah, put it down there in the section of comments.
And also say who's your favorite voice so far in the podcast, eh? Eh? Maybe?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
Look, I don't want anybody's feelings hurt.
You failed it. No, I'm teasing. But so you guys like it? You think it did attention well? Do you want what was his strengths, you guys say?
I'm kind of curious on what the grandfather actually said. I think that the whole factor that it was back and forth was actually perfect.
Oh yeah.
I generally am always more in love with these stories when it has the back and forth, because it lets me do my thing. I think I'm a pretty decent narrator. What do you guys think? I can keep attention for you guys,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I'd say you do very well.
Thank you. Because then it lets you both like shine in giving characters more depth. That's why I tend to lean to these more. You feel?
Yeah.
Because not to say anything bad about the first one. I do like the first one. I just think there's so much to say that we lose the story of it being told, more dramatically at times.
Yeah.
But-
It makes sense.
But the good news is I think the next part of the story for that one will have more back and forth dialogue. So maybe the next time we read it, it'll be more enjoyable for listening, I hope.
Yeah. Sounds like we have Mark staying there for at least a little bit.
Which definitely gives a back and forth at least,
Oh yeah.
So that should be nice.
I mean, it'd be funny to watch them go back and forth, especially since the one's just insane, the other one's trying to figure out whether he's a threat or not.
Yeah. And then he thinks he can kill Skinny. Like, we all know you can't kill Skinny.
Ah, dude, fuck Skinny.
It's almost like the one setting where he always comes back.
Ah, nice callback. Love it. All right. Well, if there's anything you guys want to add before we end the night, say it now.
Fuck Skinny.
Yeah, fuck Skinny.
Yeah, fuck Skinny.
Well, thanks for always listening and watching us goof around reading some creepy stories, guys.
Until next time.
Anonymous Storytellers out.